welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And this week, we are doing what Connie has been waiting a while for. We are finally starting our Twilight reactions here. So,
Before we get into that, though, just a quick reminder, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Our handles are at Chaos Chronicles with an S.
Podcast.
At Chaos Chronicles Podcast.
Yes.
Right about that part.
Yep.
Awesome.
So for those who haven't heard already or are just, clicking on this one for the first time, welcome. To give you guys some background here, Connie read these books as they were coming out.
Yeah, I devoured these things. I think that was summer going into high school or middle school. He was going into 7th grade, yeah.
I could see that all of a sudden you're like, when was it? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, it was that time.
Yeah, because I just remember we had a new kid come into band 7th grade, and he was very nice. He was a character, though, because he styled his hair like Edward Cullen from the movie, and he wore the Edward Cullen like white V-neck shirt from the very stereotypical "this is the skin of a killer Bella" scene. Which that's fun. But yeah, I just remember him walking in, and he walked up to me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Do you like Twilight?" I love Twilight. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know boys could like Twilight. This was many, many years ago. Okay, it was not nearly as progressive. All right.
Mm-hmm. Very different times.
Very different time. But yeah, I have not read the book since then, besides the Midnight Sun one. So Jess's reactions are prompting my memories of teenage angst.
Yes.
Yay.
And then I, on the other hand, was not allowed anywhere near this franchise at all. So I couldn't read the books, couldn't watch the movies. Technically, I have watched the movies, kind of.
It was more like a hate watch.
I think I slept most of the time.
That's valid.
I think I was awake, here and there. You know those movies that someone just puts it on and you have no idea what it's about, and you're like, I'm tired, I'm just gonna doze off, and then you wake up randomly in the middle, you're like, what? I don't even know what's going on. Who's that guy? Fell back asleep.
Yeah, that's how most of Clueless was, that movie for me.
Yeah.
Because I was put on at sleepovers quite a bit before Mean Girls came out. And it took me a while to like really get the plot together, because I just remember being very confused when I'm like, wait, is Cher kissing her brother? Why is this not a problem? And I'm like, oh, stepbrother, and not even stepbrother anymore. But then I circle back, I'm like, that's still questionable. So maybe I don't have as many answers as I thought I did, even though I've been fully awake for the entire movie more than once now. Who knows?
Yeah. So I know very little. I think I know like the big highlights, like the big plot points. But that's about it.
Hey, Ziskers, could you come over here? Why don't you come here, be Team Jacob? Come be Team Jacob. Come sit. Represent the wolves.
Well, we haven't even met Jacob yet.
Oh, shit. You early in the book.
I'm early in the book.
Early in the book. Yeah. It is. Okay. Do you remember all the drama of like Team Edward versus Team Jacob?
Yeah. Everyone was wearing shirts.
Oh, they got shirts at your school?
Everyone got shirts.
Damn, we didn't have shirts.
Yeah. People were literally wearing Team Edward, Team Jacob shirts. Because this was in middle school. I remember it was in middle school.
Yeah, no, we didn't have that, but I remember folks wrote it on their planners or on their notebooks, on their like this, not the silly bands, the thing that was before silly bands, the thicker like rubber.
Oh,
do those ever have a name, or just like rubber bracelets?
I'm sure they have some sort of name, but I have no idea.
I don't either, but
yeah,
I remember people doing that. But yeah, no, it got intense, and now as an adult, one of my younger sisters has gotten into Twilight with her college friends purely as like a hate watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just, they make fun of it, but they have Twilight themed movie nights with Twilight themed snacks. Like they have fun. And so I've been remembering all this stuff, and I've rewatched part of the movies with her, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, I get why middle schoolers were all Team Edward, Team Jacob. These are children, though.
Mm-hmm.
Why were grown women like
Honestly, though,
thirsty
yeah.
as hell for Robert Patterson and Taylor Lautner?
Yeah.
Like, unhealthily obsessed.
Were you Edward or Jacob?
I liked Edward because strong, but I liked Jacob with long hair because guys with long hair was very attractive to middle school Connie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying Dr. Cullen, the dad, he's an attractive
Okay.
man. He's an attractive man. He's a doctor. He loves his wife. He loves his family. He's a family man. He's checking off boxes,
Well,
okay?
that is a lot of green flags right there.
Exactly. He is a green flag. He's a green flag man. We love him.
Oh. All right. Well, should we get into chapter 1 here?
Yes, chapter 1.
Okay, so I guess I should probably say I wrote a summary of chapter 1, so we're gonna kind of recap it and then we'll go and talk about it. Chapter 1. 17-year-old Bella Swan is leaving the sunny Phoenix, Arizona area with her mom to a perpetually rainy town of Forks, Washington, to live with her father, Charlie. Bella is described as having pale skin, which is abnormal for Arizona, but very typical for residents of Fork due to the weather that's there.
Mhm.
Bella seems to be putting up a front about wanting to move to Washington. It is obvious that she seems very guilty about leaving her mother behind, but she feels like it was what was best. Bella had planned to get a car with Charlie's help once she arrived. For those who aren't watching, Ruby just tossed a ball on my laptop.
She's very active in the podcast. It's actually quite amazing.
Yeah, so if you're not watching, you should watch.
You should.
All right. Bella had planned to get a car with Charlie's help once she arrived, but Charlie ended up buying Bella a Chevy truck as a gift. Bella was very skeptical, but ended up actually really liking the truck.
A little addendum there. By truck, we mean it is a beater. It is one of those heavy metal bench seat. That
Very,
car
very old.
is old, but it's sturdy, which this is bringing back so many memories. And this is great because as the young artist trope goes, or the young adult artist trope goes, Bella is very clumsy. So this is a very safe vehicle because Forks, Washington has ice. That's important later.
Okay.
Oh my God.
The evil laugh. Uh-oh.
Oh, girl. Because again, middle school me was just like, oh, this is wonderful. And adult me is like, oh, this is angsty. But we're going to have fun anyway. Because that's what being an adult is. It is choosing to embrace the angsty and have fun with it. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
So she's got her hunk of trunk.
Yep, so she's got her trunk.
Truck. Wait.
Did I say trunk?
I said trunk too. Oh no.
Oh boy. All right. So on the ride to Charlie's house, conversation is quite scarce, but Bella is intrigued by the beautiful green scenery that is all around her because Washington is green because of all the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Very green.
Yes, intrigued. However, she does have a scene later on where she mumbles, "It's too green." She's used to Phoenix. I don't know why this is sticking as well in my brain, but it is like, woo, spark notes up in this brain. Didn't know I had them.
That would 100% be me though if you were recapping Harry Potter right now. I'd be like, oh, and then blah blah blah.
It's amazing what sticks in there.
Oh, I'm sure as I keep talking and as we keep doing future episodes, this is just going to be, you'll be like, oh, that just unlocked a memory. I remember where I was when I read it for the first time, and I can see that happening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right. Bella gets to her childhood home with Charlie and notes that her old childhood room is the exact same way it has always been. The only new thing in her room are the secondhand computer and a phone line, because this was pre-cell phones, or
Oh,
cell
yeah.
phones being popular, I'm assuming. They
There
haven't said
are,
anything about cell phones yet.
yes, there are cell phones used later on.
Mm.
However, it is the flip phone. It's the hit 9 4 times to get an S.
Yeah.
No. How many times do you have to hit 9 to get an S? Only one or two. I
I'd
used to
have to
be
look.
I used to be phenomenal at typing.
Oh,
Like I
same.
was so quick at texting.
Same. That was a long time ago.
My
It was a
word.
lot of practice. Oh,
U
jeez.
S.
She
Three
had,
times. 3 times to get an S. Or four. You want to know what? That's not the important part here.
anywho, phone. This was very early stages of cell phones.
Yes, no iPhones, no iPods. I think she's listening to a CD player when she lands. Or was it an iPod? Maybe they upgraded it in the movie to an iPod.
I
But
have
like,
no
it's
idea.
not the technology we have today.
Yeah. So then, one thing about Charlie that Bella likes is that he doesn't hover over her and lets her do her own thing. He even left her to unpack and get settled in her room by herself. And this is something that her mom would never have been able to allow her to do.
Hmm. Girl, I think you're gonna appreciate some of the dynamic of Renee and Charlie, because Charlie is very awkward, like doesn't know what to do with children
Yeah.
or girls, and Renee is very like fritting over like do 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 do, we're gonna do this like high energy. Yeah, slight differences from the scenario, but you're gonna notice some themes.
Right. The first night, Bella ended up crying a lot, which was super sad, and wasn't able to get a lot of sleep due to the constant whooshing noises outside caused by the rain and wind. In the morning, Charlie leaves for work at the police station, and Bella states that his job is his wife and family. After he left, Bella started to actually look around the house and noticed that nothing in the house had been changed and was still how her mother had decorated it prior to her parents getting divorced. On the mantle, there was a wedding photo of her parents, which is a little odd and it's really sad.
It is sad, and it's referenced back later, but don't worry, things are okay.
Okay. Um, it's just really sad to me. So there's a wedding photo of her parents, all three of them at the hospital when Bella was born, and then all the school photos of Bella as she's growing up. Bella states that it's obvious that Charlie never got over her mom and it made her feel uncomfortable. Like, I get it. That is so sad, though. I
Oh
read
yeah.
that, I was like, oh,
No, as an adult, that is so sad.
it's so sad.
It's so sad. But like I remember reading it as a kid, and at the time I didn't have a lot of experience with divorce, and both with my family or others. So I was like, oh, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because like they were together and like all that, and like didn't think of it. And now, given everything in my life, I'm like, oh my God, that's actually super depressing.
So
He
sad.
needs grief counseling to
He
move past that
does.
relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's so sad. It needed a moment. That was really sad. On her first day of school, Bella meets with the school receptionist to get her class schedule and a map of the school. And then she's also given a piece of paper to have all of her teachers sign. And then she even highlighted routes for Bella so she knows how to get to class, which I thought was really sweet.
Oh, she's a sweet lady. She makes a couple more appearances, if I recall,
Hmm.
maybe like one or two, really only in that book.
Gotcha.
But she is sweet.
Yeah, very helpful. Not like my high school had 4 levels.
Yeah, your school's big.
Good luck.
Yeah. No, I think I was only in there once or twice for a volleyball
Mm-hmm.
competition. And I only think once or twice, and I don't remember the layout at all.
It's a lot. It's a big school.
Yeah. Well, you guys have big classes, so.
Yeah.
Wasn't your graduating class like 700?
Not mine. Mine was the lowest it had been in years.
No, my sister's class was 764 and mine was like 360 something.
Mine was the one of the lowest in years. It was under 400, and our school was not under 400 for a class. It was very, very low. Anywho, so at lunch, oh no, I'm on the wrong line. So Bella went to her classes and hoped to not have to make introductions of herself to the entire class because that's just awful. She lucked out for a few classes, not so much for others, but she met some seemingly good people along the way. I don't want to say that they're good people because I obviously don't know. But the people that she noted here was Eric, Jessica, and Angela, who she keeps forgetting the name of.
Angela, sweetheart. Eric, sweetheart. Jessica, played by Anna Kendrick in
Oh,
the
really?
movies. Yes, she's a little bit of your stereotypical popular girl, but she doesn't have like the malice towards Bella that I remember, or
Okay.
that I'm remembering she had. I don't remember if she had malice. Jesus, that was a hard English to English,
You got there. That's all that
but somehow
matters.
that made sense. Oh well.
Yeah.
English.
At lunch, Bella notices a group of students who she describes as not looking anything alike, but they all seemed exactly alike. And they were even paler than Bella. Jessica tells Bella these are the Cullens. Some are related, some aren't, but they are all adopted by Dr. Cullen and his wife. And they all moved here 2 years ago from Alaska. Bella noticed Edward was staring at her with an interesting expression, and Jessica tells her not to waste her time with him as he does not date because no one here is good enough for him. You just have this grin on your face.
I'm remembering all of this, and I'm like, oh, layers. Oh my god. Girl, I'm also remembering this section about paleness. This is where paleness really started, at least in our generation, because we didn't have as much like goth and emo pale as like previous generations did. But this really pushed like the pale is pretty type deal.
Yeah.
Because I remember after this book came out, I am a paler person no matter what. I burn, I'm pale. But I remember after that, that's when people started commenting on me being pale way more often.
Now it's time for Biology 2 class. When she enters the class, Edward became rigid in his seat and was staring at her with hostility and anger. His eyes were also coal black. She was sent to the only open seat in the class, of course next to Edward. When she sat down, Edward was on the edge of his seat, leaning away from her and averting his face as if she smelled bad. She was also paranoid, so she smelt her hair, and it smelt like strawberries, so shouldn't be an issue. Through the entire class, Edward never relaxed.
It's so funny because you get that scene from Edward's perspective in the Midnight Sun book that Stephenie Meyer released years after the movies and everything were done.
Interesting.
Hint, hint. He's thinking murder.
That's what I was going to get. We're going to get to that later.
We don't get one episode without murder or violence of some kind, do we?
No, we don't.
Well, that's...
Welcome to the Chaos Chronicles. There's always chaos.
Yeah, that's fine. Not all indicative of who we are as humans. Totally indicative of who we are as humans. That's fine.
Oh, jeez. Near the end of class, she peeked over one more time at him, but then regretted it. Edward was glaring at her again, and his black eyes were full of revulsion. She flinched away from him and shrunk against her chair, and the phrase, "if looks could kill," popped into her head. The bell rang, and Edward was the first to leave the room. Bella was confused and angry. Why was he so mean? and he doesn't even know anything about her. Once she gathered her things, Bella met Mike and he walked with her to gym class. On the way there, Mike asked Bella what she did to Edward, as that behavior was not normal for him. Mike continued to say it looked like he was in pain or something, but he was a weird guy. Mike said that, quote, if if I were lucky enough to sit by you, I would have talked to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, can you get the vibe that Bella is the shiny new toy as she describes
Uh-huh.
herself? Yep.
Uh-huh.
Or no, Jess
Yeah.
doesn't describe her that way. Or no, Jess, the character, describes her that way. I think I might have bumped you ahead of chapter. My bad.
Oh, you're good. The school day ends, and Bella heads to the office to hand in her signed papers from all of the teachers. She arrives and sees none other than Edward talking or arguing with the secretary to try to switch out of his biology class to a different time. Bella couldn't believe that this was because of her. When Edward noticed her, he stiffened and he turned to glare at Bella with handsome, piercing, hate filled eyes. At the same time, Bella felt a thrill of genuine fear that raised the hair on her arms. He ended up leaving, basically saying, never mind. Bella finishes with the secretary and gets in her car to go home. The last sentence leaves us saying, I headed back to Charlie's house fighting tears the whole way home. What the fuck, Edward?
Oh my word.
Oh,
See, I don't want to spoil too much, but again, you get more background on that in Midnight Sun. But yeah,
uh-huh.
he angry. He big mad. He big mad in that.
I know. What the fuck?
Oh, it is what the fuck. Also, I do remember the first time I watched the Twilight movie, I was annoyed because Bella in that scene, they do that play out where she goes in and she sees Edward going, there's got to be anything else. The secretary's like, no, sorry, sweetie, there isn't. And that moment where she's supposed to feel the fear, you don't really see the fear on her face. Kristen Stewart just kind of has one expression, which is what people have been hating on for
Yeah.
her for a while. But it is just really just, oh, like she's just staring. And I'm like, that's not registering fear. That's not registering uncomfortable. Like she does a little thing with her eyebrows, but I'm like, give me a little bit more there. That's supposed to be a pivotal moment. More. But that's why I'm not a producer or a director. Because I would get punched out as I walk up to somebody like, more.
Oh, yeah.
Was that chapter 1 or chapter 2?
That was chapter 1.
Ah, chapter 1.
So that was all of my chapter 1 summary. So the weird thing kind of going from like the beginning of the chapter down, why does Bella call her dad Charlie? Is that a later? Okay, that's a later thing.
Kinda. Well, they're not close because Renee took Bella when she left years ago. So I think Bella was like,
Oh,
I want to say she was like 9 maybe when they split.
that makes more sense then.
And then she spent a couple summers with Charlie, but because of his job, it wasn't super practical with him being a cop.
Yeah.
So she spent way more time with her mom, and this is kind of like a very out of the ordinary. Did you read why she was going back with Charlie instead of staying with her mom?
Yeah, because of her mom's like stepdad or no,
Husband.
stepdad.
Yeah, Renee married Phil,
Ah,
the
that's what
baseball player.
yeah.
Yeah, and he had a shot for auditions in a minor league, so they were
Yep.
traveling everywhere, which doesn't work for Bella in school.
Yep.
Literally have not read these
And
books
so
in
her
10
mom
plus years. So her mom's like, go with your dad. Well,
Yeah.
no,
No, it's
sorry.
because her
Bella.
mom would stay with Bella and Bella felt bad because she just wanted to be with Phil.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Bella, yep, you're right. I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why she left. She's upset about leaving, but she wants her mom to be happy, essentially, which very sweet, but
Very sweet.
weird situation.
Weird situation. Oh, I almost forgot. Okay. So, Twilight has had a phenomenon of both being incredibly culturally impactful, and also the hate on Twilight has been culturally impactful. They made a spoof movie, like a full on Hollywood movie, and it's got like actual actors, well, actual actors, but like named actors, and it's called, is it, oh shit, what is it called? They spoofed every single one of the Twilight movies, and so I just remember instead of Breaking Dawn, they did Breaking Wind. But they did one for Twilight too. I think it's called like Vampire Suck or something. And it's just so funny because there's this scene where you probably remember reading Bella. She's got her little cactus, and that represents her being this outsider in this green forks. And it's kind of a literary cliche. It's a very obvious one. So in the parody version, instead of a small little cactus, she gets out of the truck with this massive fucking giant cactus. And I just remember I saw that scene and I started laughing uncontrollably hard. I don't know why, but it just comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh yeah. It just makes fun of some of the like uber seriousness of the book.
Yeah.
That being said, it's still a good book. Obviously, I like it.
Otherwise, we would not be here right now.
Exactly.
Let me see. My next note here was just that um it was really sad about Charlie never getting over Bella's mom. And so I was just assuming that she was the one that wanted to end the marriage and essentially ended the marriage.
Yeah, remember all that. I don't want to spoil it for you yet because I
Okay.
want your
I will
reactions.
remember it. I
But
won't delete these notes.
there is a section later on where that is important that he can't get over
Hmm.
Renee.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that I know about vampires is essentially from the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, Ian Somerhalder. Attractive man. Dark hair, blue eyes, man. Great combo.
Yes. Yes. 100%. So in that show, though, their eyes get black right before they're about to feed or kill. Is that why his eyes are coal black? Because he just wants to kill Bella?
So I'm going to spoil a little bit so you understand going forward, but this isn't really a spoil because you've had to have seen it in memes and things. So the thing with the Cullens is they are, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen any of this, I'm giving a spoiler, which it's been years. How have you not known all this? But so
Me.
that, good point, good point. They are vegetarians is their joke. So they hunt animals, not people.
So, like Stefan in Vampire Diaries.
Yes, exactly. And with that, their eyes are normally like a golden hazel color, but
Mm.
the longer they go between feeding, the more the bloodlust builds, the darker their
Oh,
eyes. So when he's having that extreme bloodlust, that's why his eyes are super dark.
I understand now. Okay,
Hmm.
it makes sense.
If you hadn't brought up the part with Vampire Diaries, I would have just waited and let you read through, but like you already kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'm like there has to be something in there because the same thing happened in Vampire Diaries.
Can you imagine if we had that as like regular humans? You can look at somebody and just know that like they're super hungry or any other emotion or violent. Actually, I feel like you can kind of tell when someone's more violent because their pupils
Yes,
do dilate.
they get a certain look on their face for sure.
I was going to say, as the paramedic who has had to tackle crack addicts, I feel like you would know that.
A lot of people like to switch on you, like they're all cool and then all of a sudden they're not. You can watch the shift in their eyes. It's freaky.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen it in that situation, but in a situation where I had a guy who mistook my customer service for flirting. It's not, by the way. If someone's just being friendly in a customer service role, like a waitress, bartender, server, any type, don't take it as they want to have sex with you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that one, I noticed him changing in his eyes. And that's when it was the doors locked and we got out. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
okay. But like there was a change.
Yeah. Not
It's
good.
freaky.
It is freaky.
It's super freaky. Thank you, human biology, that allows us to recognize that.
Yeah, honestly.
The more you know.
Also, I included this because also Vampire Diaries. That's all I know.
I never finished that series. I know it happened.
Oh, it was good. Well, good and bad. I also really got into the originals. I love the originals.
Yes, I only have seen clips of it, but I Wikipedia'd it.
Klaus
I
Michelson.
love Klaus.
I think he might be my favorite character in that whole thing. He might be my favorite.
I do like his relationship with Caroline.
I know. Why did they not end up together?
You know, even like later when they're not together, but they've got that like love and that friendship. It
Yeah.
almost gives me the same vibes as Derek Morgan and Penelope Garcia from Criminal Minds.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, it's not the romantic love per se, but it's like the love of each other that you can like no bullshit that person.
Yeah.
Like that's good.
I thought you were going to bring it to the Hades and Persephone.
It does have Hades and Persephone vibes. Oh my god.
100%. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
That is a type. That's
like one of my favorite story types is that the Hades Persephone.
Yes. But anyway, you gotta love, like, even like when I was talking about Dr. Cullen, and that's a part of like Hades and Persephone stories that most people love, guys and girls, is that extreme loyalty to the partner, that extreme love for the other partner, not possessive and unhealthy. Well, in Hades' case, the original story, yeah.
Yes.
But like she's a badass. She's my queen. Like, she's awesome. She's amazing. Number one supporter. And she's like, yeah, he's my king. He's my husband. He's awesome. Badass. Like, I support him. I will stab you if you look at him wrong. And it's like, that's what we want.
Also, for those of you who have read Neon Gods, I'm going to get Connie to read that and react to that one as well. But that will be a later date. No date in mind yet. But so, relating back to the Vampire Diaries, there was a part in chapter 1 that she basically said something popped into her brain. And I'm like, can they use mind control like they can on Vampire Diaries?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
That's not a 100% no here,
it's
Connie.
not like it is in Vampire Diaries with compulsion.
Okay.
So you can't be... Compulsion is what it was.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, they don't have compulsion, but there is, like, abilities. Which, if you didn't already know those, I'll just husha until you read it.
Okay. All right. My next note is Mike is super sweet. I can tell that he is 100% the shiny new toy. But...
yeah.
I can. But he's also being so nice to her. Like, actually nice. My last note, how the hell do Edward and Bella end up together? What the fuck?
Yay. Girl, trust me, you'll find out by the end of the book.
I'll find out by the end of the book.
I mean, like, I can't.
But then where does the Edward Jacob teams come in?
So that's not as much in this first book. Like, it's definitely there, but it's more... it becomes more of a thing in the second book, New Moon. That's when you really start focusing on the Quileute, I think is how they pronounce the tribe. You focus more on them. It's not as much on the Cullens.
Gotcha. Is Jacob in the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there actually when Bella got the truck.
Oh, that's him.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep, because Jacob's dad is...
I didn't see a name. I don't think there was a name associated with it. It was just one of his sons.
It might be... No, it might be a later chapter then where they have more of that. No, I thought it was that one. But yeah, no, I can't remember what the name of Jacob's dad is, the chief. I want to say it's like Blackwood or Blackfoot. But he's the one in the wheelchair in the movies.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he is the one who gives Charlie the truck. He and Charlie are really good friends. And then you learn more about him, and he becomes a little bit more of a character that moves the story along. And he kind of uses Jacob as his legs because he's a little limited.
Oh.
Yes and no. Like there's a lot of actually interesting layers to it. And I don't remember New Moon as well, so I think I would probably have to spark note or reread that one.
Well, I mean, we'll get to it eventually.
Oh, we will. But yeah, no, it's the Edward Bella relationship. A lot of people idolize it and they say like, "Oh, it's such goals." It is. I want to say I don't remember exactly who did the whole study and like deep dive on it, but their relationship actually matches up to every single category of a toxic relationship based on, I don't remember what national standard that like abuse and domestic violence shelters
Yeah.
use, where like it's presented as this beautiful thing. But in reality, if you had an actual relationship like them,
You shouldn't be in it.
well, it's going to go one of two ways. Then it's probably going to end up with someone dying and or hurt.
Yeah. So far, I really dislike Edward.
Yeah, no, it does not come off well.
And I'm not
And
even talking about just the first chapter. I'm talking second chapter too.
yeah, no,
Like,
he does not come off well for a while.
no.
But you, and this could just be the old 13-year-old brain talking,
Probably.
more than likely. But like he does become more of a gentleman later. Like right now, he's being a dick for a reason, which you don't really learn about until later, and that's flushed out more in Midnight Sun, where you get his perspective. And so it's like, okay, but now as a grown ass woman, I'm sitting here going, there's no reason to be a dick to somebody like that. So like you got your own issues in there and you are projecting them onto somebody else. Do not do that. Don't do that. Don't.
No.
Actually, if you're going to do that, let the person know you're going to do that so they can actively stay away from you.
Yeah. Yeah. I highly, highly, highly doubt I will change my mind about Edward. Can I say I'm Team Jacob without knowing Team Jacob? Like,
Oh, no, honey, there's going to be a couple
no.
of things you're not going to love about him either.
Okay.
I mean, I will give Stephenie Meyer credit. As a grown woman writing from the perspective of teenagers, she did nail a lot of like
Yeah.
the awkward teenage angst and the lack of a developed frontal lobe, which that's not a jab, by the way. Like,
A legitimate thing.
it's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I can see parts of it, but she does. They both come around to the end where you end up liking them. Although you'll get mad at Bella several times over, as you would any 17-year-old girl trying to make decisions in a stressed environment.
This is going to be an interesting series that we're going to have on here.
Very.
All right. You ready to go into chapter 2?
Yes.
All right. So if I didn't say this already, I think we're just going to do, well, this is just going to be the first 2 chapters. I don't know if we're going to do every 2 chapters and do a recap, but
Based on how the chapters lay out, it might make more sense to read several and then we just kind of do an overarch of like a whole section of the book.
Yeah, it's going to depend on speed. I don't know if there's like an extremely, extremely long chapter in there. We might just do 1 chapter. If there's several short, we might do a couple.
Several short, but then also some of them where the way it leaves off, to my memory, again, 10 plus years ago, to my memory, it just makes more sense to read into the next chapter instead of just leaving it.
Yeah. So all dependent, but for this one, I just did the first 2 chapters. So moving into chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the next day. Bella is going back to school and finds it to be a little easier since she knows what to expect now. She now has made friends and sits at lunch with Mike, Eric, Jessica, and others who aren't mentioned by name.
She keeps forgetting Angela. We love Angela. Angela is great. We really like her.
She keeps putting in there, this is the girl that I can't remember her name. Which is kind of sad, but I understand because I forget everybody's name.
I am also bad with names. I can recognize a face. Don't ask me for a name.
No. Yeah, I can point people out. That's about it. So Edward was absent on her second day of school and remains absent for several days following. Bella has a suspicion that she was the reason he wasn't there. And I'm assuming that is correct. But shocker.
Yes.
So Bella took over the quote kitchen detail, as she puts it, and went shopping after school for her and her dad. Sorry.
Mhm.
When she gets home, she starts cooking and checks her email only to find 3 messages from her mom. The first email asking how her flight was, if it's raining there, and where a specific shirt is that she can't find. The second email was written 8 hours later and asked why Bella hadn't responded to her. The last email was sent out that morning and said if Bella doesn't respond to her, she will call Charlie. Of course, Bella responds and essentially tells her that everything's fine and to relax. She isn't checking her emails every few minutes.
I'm seriously wondering how you're gonna come down on Renee, because I can see you either just being like, whatever, or really not liking her.
I really don't like her.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, she definitely comes off as more, and like Bella talks about this later, where Bella has to be the mature adult because Renee is not. And I've seen like actual examples of this. And when the kid has to be more mature than the adult, the kid ends up acting very mature and wise beyond their years, but they also miss out on a childhood. They're
not a kid.
They're not a kid, and they don't get to really develop like full emotional processing of their own emotions just because they have to be so cognizant of others. And so like reading that or remembering that now as an adult, I'm like, holy shit. Like that is so sad.
Yeah. Currently, I only just don't like her because hover parent to the extreme.
Yeah. Hover, it is a chaotic hover. It's an ADHD chaotic hover.
Yeah.
Where it's not like micromanaged, but it's definitely a hover.
Well, it's like the comment about like Charlie leaving her to unpack and, you know, get settled, and Bella going, my mom would never be able to do this.
No, her mom would be the one of like unpacking everything, making commentary, telling her about like what's going on in her life, what's going on in her life.
I just get anger.
That's the part I was like, I don't think you're gonna like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. See, that part also throws me off. Even as a kid, I remember thinking that was odd because my mom is not a hover parent. Like, to a degree, of course, she's a parent. They're both good parents.
There's a difference between being a parent and being a hover parent.
Yep. And so, like, that idea of hovering, that idea of being, like, this sounds so bad to say, but being friends with your parents as a child, that is so weird to me. Because, like, my mom always made a point of, I'm your mother, I'm not your friend.
Yep.
We can be friends later, but right now I'm your mother.
Yep. While you live here, we're not friends.
Exactly. While she was actively being my mother.
Yep.
She's like, nope, that's the distinction. And honestly, I'm very grateful for it because it's the ones whose moms wanted to be friends with the kids that those kids went through some things.
Yeah.
No hate.
Yeah. Well, continuing in the chapter, Charlie comes home and they sit down to eat dinner in silence. Neither of them are bothered by the silence, though. Charlie asks about her day and if she made any friends yet. Bella takes the opportunity to ask him what he knows about the Cullens family. Charlie surprisingly gets really worked up and defends Dr. Cullen and his wife, saying that people in this town need to give newcomers more of a chance before they judge them. That says a lot because he's so quiet.
You'll really like Charlie. You'll really like him.
I can already tell, like, everything to do with Charlie. I'm like, oh.
I know. Charlie is a sweetie.
Oh.
And looking back, like, he handled things the best he could. Could he have done a little bit better? Yeah. But he does well.
Good. I like him.
Oh, yeah. He's good. We like Charlie.
I think so far he's my favorite character.
Him so and Angela, nice. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen or heard much about Angela other than this is the girl that I don't know who's named hers is.
True. I'm basing Angela based on movie and, again, reading Midnight Sun, where you get a little bit more about her. But I'll wait.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
wait.
get there. I'll get there one day, I promise. So on Monday of the following week, Bella saw snow for the first time in person. At lunch that day, Bella sees that Edward is back, and seeing this makes her feel physically ill. Just gonna pause there, because, like, that should tell you something.
Yeah, she don't listen. Spoiler alert.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Go check out our You're Not Brittany, Toxic Isn't Cute episode.
Yeah. Episode 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, one of the first ones. Bella's friends notice that Edward is staring at her, and Bella asks them if he looks angry and that he doesn't like her. She decides, since her friend said that he didn't look angry, that she would go to biology class. Bella sat down in biology and kept her head down, deciding that she wouldn't acknowledge Edward. To her surprise, Edward says hi and introduced himself, saying that he didn't have a chance last week. Untrue. Untrue.
We starting off the bat with lies.
How many red flags am I going to say? Red flag. No.
I'm not going to lie. You will have a field of red flags.
Lovely.
You're going to have a field of red flags for pretty much every character except Charlie.
Well, that'll just let me plug the Toxic episode more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Edward tries to make conversation, but they're interrupted by the lab assignment they have to do. They were the first group to finish, as Bella had done the lab before, and Edward is apparently the star pupil. Bella asks if Edward got new contacts. He denied it, but Bella noticed that his eyes had more of a golden tone to them instead of being coal black. The question seemed to upset him, though, as he started to clench his fists. Edward starts asking questions again, and this time asking about why she moved here and why she left her mom. Bella is uncomfortable and irritated about this, and he continues to push her, acting amused by her irritation until he gets the answer he is satisfied with. What the fuck?
Also different than the movie. They changed it up in the movie a little bit, where when she asked about the contacts, then he's just like, oh, or asked about the eyes, he's like, oh, I got contacts, so we gotta go, and he like leaves. I forgot how pushy that he was.
He was so pushy. As I was reading this, my brain was just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? That's all I could say. What is wrong with this guy?
Again, you get more answers later, but it doesn't mean they're good answers. Yeah, social cues, my friends. If someone is uncomfortable on a topic, read the cue and stop asking, politely get out, politely apologize.
Don't keep pushing, and don't find amusement in them. No.
Oh, yeah, a normal person, no, but we're dealing with a vampire here, so...
I don't care.
Jess gives no grace. And that's okay, because you shouldn't in this situation, or any situation similar.
Yeah.
But again, you find out more later.
Okay.
This is the reaction I should have had reading this as a child.
Now you get me at, how old am I? 27 years old, reading this for the first time after being in a very toxic relationship. Me being like, no, red flags. There are so many red flags already. And we're only 2 chapters into this.
Which, that's a good point to mention. 1, listen to the toxic episode. And 2, if some older woman or man in your life is telling you when you were younger, like, I don't know if this is the partner, I think there's a couple red flags, I have some concerns, maybe listen to them, because we're not saying this to be fun killers, because we're not.
No.
It's literally just your frontal lobe hasn't developed, and I know you're sick of hearing it, but I remember the difference of like my decision approach to any situation changing massively after 25.
Yep.
So, like, maybe listen to someone's a little older and has some experience, especially if you're a young girl dating an older guy. Like, if you're 17 and you've got a 25-year-old hitting on you, it's not because you're so mature. It's because he's creepy and a bum.
Yep. Yeah. Or even if you don't want to listen to them, just take what they have to say and start.
Filtering everything through it.
Just take some time to reflect.
Mhm.
Like, truly reflect, not being like, well, they said this, so I'm going to do the opposite. No, just take some time to genuinely reflect, because I was that person. So,
I know. I had it a few times.
in their conversation, Bella admits that people always say that she's an open book. Edward states that he actually finds her very difficult to read, and he can usually read everyone. After the class ends, Edward abruptly leaves just as he did the last time, and Mike comes over to talk to Bella. Mike notices that Edward was more friendly today and wonders what was going on with him last week. Bella exits the school, where it is again raining, and goes to her truck. Before starting her car up, she saw that Edward was leaning against the door of a car 3 down from her and was staring at her. She looked away from him quickly and took off so fast that she almost hit a car. She took a deep breath and could see him laughing as she passed him in the lot. And that's where that chapter ends.
Yep. I mean, that's the relatable part there, because I think every single one of us has done something unintentionally dumb
Yes.
in a car when other people are watching, and you're just like, I'm gonna go die now, thank you.
Yep, man, bye.
And bye. Yeah, I had that when I had to parallel park for the first time in like years, when I was at the old house in the cities.
Yeah.
And it was in front of the construction crew, because I had to move my car from the alley and move it to the street because they were working there. That took way too damn long to get that parked. I'm just really glad none of them clapped as I got out, because like it was bad. And they're watching. It's made worse because you know they're watching you, and you're just like, God damn everything.
Yeah. I just... Ugh.
Not my best moment, not my worst moment, not my best.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had those moments when we're in a rush, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Hopefully they don't remember.
Probably
or if they
not.
do, I moved. They don't know where I am now.
They don't know who you are. You'll never see them again, so...
Yeah, my name wasn't on that house.
Yeah, no.
There we go. Haha. You'll never know unless you're one of the random people that watch this podcast. In that case, you don't know me. It's cool. It's fine. My address is not the same. Don't try to dox me. Like, it's not me. Don't post that online. Thank you. Well, yeah, so that was your first 2 chapters.
That was my first 2 chapters.
Sounds like red flags is your impression thus far.
Red flags. I really don't like Edward. Or her mom.
Yeah, they're the 2 biggest ones to start.
Yeah, my notes for that, there's a lot of caps. Yeah. And a lot of dots. ... Yeah, red flags everywhere, guys.
Yeah, it's not the manual for the best way to interact with folks.
No, not a healthy relationship. Don't treat people like that. And if people are treating you like that, either ignore them or don't take it.
Yeah. Yeah, new. Which actually, now that I think about it, if you think about her family structure, it makes more sense why Bella doesn't go away from the red flags. Because she's never really gotten to be what it sounds like from this couch psychology here.
We are not psychologists.
God, no.
Don't come for us.
No, don't come for us. But it sounds like it falls into the trope of like, well, you never got to be the child. You never got to be the one with the focus or the attention. You always had to adapt to others.
Yep.
So then if you have someone who for the first time is willing to put you at center stage, I mean, I get why that would be tempting.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right, but I get why it's tempting.
Yeah. And I can 100% see already why this was popular for like middle school to high school age people, because at least for me, that was like the most attractive thing to me when I was that age.
Oh yeah.
Red flags, keep them coming, you know?
Well, at that age, it's so awkward because you're not an adult, you're not a kid, you've got these god awful hormones in excess, which, I mean, if you've seen our hormones episode, you know that hormones suck even as an adult. So,
Yeah.
like, as a kid, when it's raging abundant for the first time, it's worse.
Yeah.
And so you're just at that awkward and you want to fit in, you want to be loved, you want someone to be like, oh, you are okay, you're right, this is good. So that's why all that's really tempting. And it's not until you get older and you realize, well, it's not realistic to have somebody put you on that pedestal, and that's not fair to you or them because no one can live on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have the nuances. You have to have the ups and the downs. No one's perfect. No one's Prince Charming.
Yeah.
It's okay. And you just learn to build with each other and not creepily stare and look like you're going to murder somebody across the classroom.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else for chapter 2?
No, but I'm excited for you to read the rest of this book. Also, I gotta find a different spot to put this because, like, my natural where I want to like look at you, it's right in
I know.
between.
That is why I had you over there. So we could.
Yeah, we're making do. This is second time with recording with the new mics, so
Yep.
there's some adjustments, but hopefully you guys like the new mics better.
Yeah.
Hopefully it picks up better.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Haven't edited anything yet, so I have no idea, but fingers crossed. I don't think we could get much worse than what we were doing before, so.
I don't know, the legit first episode was rough.
Yeah, the first episode will never be published.
No.
Because that was...
Bad.
Yeah.
That one was rough.
Yeah.
Although that was the day that we got the video of Ruby talking into the microphones.
That was, yep.
That should get on social media somewhere.
I'll have to see if I still have that. I don't know if I kept the first one because it was so bad. I think I might have just deleted it.
Oh, I think I got it on my phone. I could send it to you.
Okay.
Oh, I know I have it on my phone because I sent it to my family and they love that video.
Well, then we will try our best to get that up on our social medias.
Yes, big sigh.
But we will be continuing this series. Hopefully you guys enjoy this reaction to Twilight. Apparently I will not be a fan of Edward, so maybe that'll be entertaining to some of you guys. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm very interested to see where you grow with these characters.
Yeah. Well, we will continue on probably in a few episodes. Not sure our spacing yet, but
yeah, we'll get it figured out. If you really liked this episode, you want to hear more about the Twilight, please let us know. If you think, dear God, we have heard enough of this. This is like Minions. We don't want to see him, hear him, anything like that. Let us know. We're also good on that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any love will be lost from just not reading the entirety of the Twilight series.
Probably not. Not at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you guys want to check out more of us, we have other social media platforms. We can be found at Chaos Chronicles Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram.
Yeah.
And
until
that
next
is
time.
it.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.